Hey everyone, this is Matthew Sweeney. This is my teaching presentation on, oh shoot. Hey everyone, this is Matthew Sweeney. This is my teaching presentation on some techniques for DOM and JavaScript and how they relate. So they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, if you watch any of the other people's videos or if you study a little bit, you come to realize that JavaScript is how you make your pages interactive, and DOM is the document object model that lets you manipulate the HTML by way of JavaScript. So as an example, I have this kind of this sample web page. There's no style or anything. It's just some paragraphs with some IDs. Everything has a ID that I'll be using here. So just going to highlight, so hopefully you can see this. There's just a headline up here, and then there's some paragraph with the dummy text, and then there's a small thing down here that I'll use later that I'll explain. So as I said, each of them has an ID, and so one of the I guess kind of the driving factors in this in DOM and JavaScript is that it's driven by events. So an event will trigger something to change or do something. And in order to use that, you have to register the events. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. Depending, and some of them are supported by different browsers, and some of them are easier than others. But I'm going to try to demonstrate a variety of ways to do that. So here's the script down here, the JavaScript section, and this is going to be where the majority of what's happening is going to happen. So I have a couple functions here that I'm going to use. And the first way to register an event would be these two lines right here, where this is going to use the add event listener function. So we're going to start by doing some of the DOM here, starting from the document. And then we're just going to go straight to the get element by ID, which is the div up here for all the paragraphs right here. So it contains all the paragraphs, and its ID is lorem, just the Latin dummy text. And then we're making use of the add event listener, and then this is the event action. So there's a bunch of events that you can look up online. Way too many for me to illustrate all of them. But some of the more common ones are mouse over and mouse out. So mouse over would be when you mouse over that element, and then mouse out is when you leave the mouse leaves that element. And then so that's the event, and then this right here, the second part of that function, is the function name itself. So the function name is highlight, and so if you go up here and highlight, all it's going to do is just take that element, this there, that's what it's referring to, that element, and then change the style to red. And then the second line down here, moving again down here, is the same exact format, but it's a mouse out, and then the function instead is going to be unhighlight, and all that does is change that element back to black. So that's one way to register the function, so you can use it, or so it'll take the event. And I'm just going to show you how that works. See if I can go to my, okay, so here's that page. Let me just refresh it so that, make sure it's okay. Okay, so here's what it's doing. You can see I scroll over and it'll change all that whole div to red. Move back and it changes it back to black. So it's able to take that event and change it. Moving back to the code, the second way you can actually register the event is just inline, and this is kind of the first way most people learn, I think. It's certainly the first way I would learn, or I learned. and this is just taking an attribute of the actual element itself. So here we have the onClick attribute, and we're just calling the function remove event. The function is down here in the script. So a remove event is actually going to make use of these lines right here, which are similar to the add event listener. You can remove event listener, so you can actually remove the event from the page. So that's what this, when I click on this little part of the text, the stop hover part of the page, it'll actually remove those event listeners. So we're modifying the events that are happening. So going again back to here, it hovers right now, and if I click on here, it no longer does that. So I've removed that event from the page. And then the third way to add an event would be these parts down here, these 4 lines, and these are going to change the 4 paragraphs. We're going through the DOM here. We're going to document, and we're again jumping to the element by ID, whatever paragraph, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then here's where we're adding the event, the onClick. And again, that's going to change depending on whatever it is. You can, depending on the element, if it's something like a scroll, it has a scroll, you can make the element or the event trigger from the scroll. You can have it from a dragging something around. I mean, I don't know how many events there are, but there are a lot, dozens, maybe more. And so the onClick event here, and all 4 of these have onClick, and then it's going to call the function, and you call the function without parentheses here. And then it's going to jump up here to this function, and all this function does is just change the text. So again, going through the DOM, document, and then jump straight to the paragraph 1, looks for the child of that paragraph. So the child element of the paragraph, which is going to be the text of that paragraph. And then changes the node value to this little phrase right here. Second function that's going to work on the second paragraph is just going to change the style of that paragraph, the background, to the aqua. Third function just changes the text to green. And the fourth function is actually kind of interesting. Here we have, again, going up to we find the element, the paragraph 4, and then append child. So that's actually going to add a child element to that element. So in this case, it's going to take paragraph 1 and actually put it at the end of that. So it actually moves paragraph 1 to the end, and you'll see what I mean whenever I go to the page. So let's go back to the page here. So here we are. Number 1 actually changes it. There we go. Get rid of that Latin garbage. So it just changes the text. Number 2 changes the background. And these are all being triggered by me clicking on them. Number 3 changes the text to green. Number 4 actually changes the paragraph 1 and moves it all the way to the end. So it's just kind of 4 different ways to kind of create events within your page, and then a couple bits of JavaScript on how you can modify whatever elements you're talking about. Like I said, there's a lot of them. There's probably going to be one if you need to do something that's going to apply. And then after that, it's just a matter of getting your function to do what you want it to do so that your page reacts the way you want it to. Okay, that's it. Thanks.